Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Dinomist deck profile. So I'm really excited to do something for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Zach. And this deck is an awesome pendulum deck that I've included all sorts of spicy tech cards in this build for you guys. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. And definitely give Zach some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Rex. Rex is one of our main boss monsters in the deck and an awesome card to be able to play at 3, with the ability that if this card attacks, at the end of the damage step you can actually tribute one other Dinomist monster to activate one of these effects. This card can make a second attack on an opponent's monster in a row, and if this card attacks a defensive monster, you inflict piercing damage to your opponent, or you get to shuffle one card from your opponent's hand at random or their side of the field into the deck, which is a really cool effect. We then play 3 copies of Ceratops. Ceratops is really good as an extender in the build, and it's just a really cool, basically cyber dragon of the deck, that if all monsters you control are Dinomist monsters and none are Dinomist Ceratops, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is a great ability to instantly get this card out on your side of the field. We then play 2 copies of Spinos. Spinos is actually my favorite among all of the Dinomist cards, and definitely comment down below which one your favorite is. This card is awesome. It lets you tribute one other Dinomist monster to activate one of these effects. That this card can attack your opponent directly this turn, or this card can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn, which is a really cool ability. We then play 2 copies of Brachion. Brachion is really cool as a 2-of as well in the deck, because if you do not control a copy of this card in the monster zone and your opponent controls a monster that has the highest attack on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is a great ability to instantly get this card out on your side of the field, so you can basically get another level 5 on your side of the field so we can make Nova and then Infinity. We then play 3 copies of Terran. Terran is really good as a normal summon in this deck and a really powerful card overall, with the ability that when this card destroys an opponent's monster at battle, you can actually add a Dinomist card from your deck to your hand, so it can grab you the exact scale you need, or it can even grab you your copy of Howling, which is a great ability for this card to have. I love that about this card, that it can literally search any Dinomist card that you need. We then play 2 copies of Pelos. Pelos is really interesting in the deck and actually drops your opponent's attack points down, as all face of monsters your opponent control lose 100 attack and defense points for each Dinomist card that you control, which is a pretty cool ability because this effect actually stacks, so if you have 2 of these on the field, they're going down by 200 attack points, which is a really cool ability. We then play 3 copies of Dynamite Power Load. Dynamite Power Load is crazy powerful in this deck because this card is a great pendulum effect. It lets you actually target a Draco Slayer or a Dinomist card in your other pendulum zone and special summon it, which is a great ability to instantly be able to summon out one of your other cards to your side of the field. And this card is a really powerful 3-of in the deck. We then play a single copy of Luster Pendulum. Luster Pendulum is a really awesome tech card in this deck to basically just step into a copy of Ignister, and it's a really cool card to be able to use your copy of Draco Face Off. We then play 2 copies of Vector Pendulum. Vector Pendulum is really good in the deck as a 2-of, because you can also use this card with your copy of Draco Face Off, which is why we play this card as a 2-of in the build. And this card is a really interesting monster effect, as you actually negate all card effects in your opponent's pendulum zone, which is really interesting for its pendulum scale effect for this normal monster to basically just use this card to stop other pendulum decks. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's definitely a 3-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're just going to be playing a few, starting off with a single copy of Instant Fusion and 2 copies of Ready Fusion. So this is a really spicy tech card in the build because you can actually use this card to get the exact monster you want on your side of the field, like your copy of Rare Fish or your copy of Cybersaurus, to basically help you going for your copy of Cyber Dragon Nova and then Infinity, or going for a copy of Bahamut Shark so you can summon out your copy of Toad. These cards are really good in the build and help out a lot in the deck to help you get a monster out on your side of the field, alongside one of your Dinomist cards, basically using these cards as extenders in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Draco Face-Off. Draco Face-Off is really cool in this deck as a 3-of, because this card has an insane ability that you reveal a Draco Slayer Pendulum monster and a Drake Overlord Pendulum monster from your deck, and your opponent randomly picks one of them to place in your Pendulum Zone or special summon, your choice, and you add the other card to your extract face up. These cards are really good in the deck and basically insane rotas for the build to instantly get a monster out on your side of the field, while also setting up your extract for a Pendulum Summon, meaning this card is actually insane in this build. We then play 3 copies of Dinomist Charge. Dinomist Charge is really good as a 3-of in the build and helps out a lot in this deck to basically be rotas for the deck. Then when this card is activated, you can add a Dinomist monster from your deck to your hand, and once per turn, if a Dinomist card is added from the field to the extract face up, you can actually add one of those cards to your hand, meaning you don't have to Pendulum Summon out from the extract. You can Pendulum Summon from the hand, so you don't have to Pendulum Summon to an extra monster zone or a linked zone, meaning it's insane for this build, and also makes it really good so you can just summon out your Dinomist normally. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Angel Statue. Angel Statue is really good as a 1-of in the build, as this card works really well with our copy of Silhouette Rabbit, because this card is actually negate for special summons, and it's an insane card to be able to get to, as your copy of Silhouette Rabbit does have 2 downward pointing arrows, which works really well in Pendulum decks, and it also gets your copy of Azaroon, which is insane. We then play 3 copies of Dinomist Howling. Howling is crazy powerful and basically sets up your Pendulum Scales with the ability that when this card is activated, you get to place 1 or 2 Dinomist Pendulum monsters from your deck in your Pendulum Zone, but you cannot Pendulum Summon monsters until the end of the next turn except Dinomist monsters, even if this card leaves the field. And once per turn, if this card is already face up in your spell and trap card zone, you can actually tribute a Dinomist monster and then target 1 card your opponent controls and return it back to the hand, which is a crazy powerful ability to be able to use to basically just use this card as a bounce and to set up your Pendulum Scales. We then also play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is really good as a 3-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with a single copy of Dinosaur Power. Dinosaur Power is really good as a 1-of in the build and helps out a lot in this deck to be able to summon, because it does require a Draco Slayer Pendulum monster plus any Pendulum monster who contact fuse into this card. It's just a really good option in this deck. We then play a single copy of Cybersaurus and a single copy of Rare Fish. Both of these cards are basically just instant and ready fusion targets to be able to summon out to your side of the field. So you can either make your copy of Nova or make your copy of Bahamut Shark, so you can summon out either Infinity or Totally Awesome. We then play a single copy of Ignister. Ignister is great as a 1-of in the build, and it's just a really powerful card overall in this deck, because once per turn, you can target 1 Pendulum monster on the field or 1 card in the Pendulum Zone, destroy it. If you do, shuffle 1 card on the field into the deck, which is a great ability. This card non-targets shuffles a card off the field. It's just a really good 1-of boss monster in the build. This card also has the ability once per turn, you can actually special summon a Draco Slayer monster from your deck in defense position, but it cannot be used as a synchro material for a summon, which is a really cool ability to be able to use it so we can step into our copy of our Dinosaur Power. We then play a single copy of Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark is great so we can summon another copy of Toad to basically just establish us a negate going first, and it's really cool in this build and super easy to make with your copy of Rare Fish stepping into your copy of Bahamut Shark. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dragon Nova and a single copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity. These cards are great in the build to be able to use because your copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity is one of the main boss monsters of the deck, as it's so easy to make in this build, because if you have a copy of Instant or Ready Fusion, plus any of your Dinomist monsters that can be summoned that's level 5 or higher, or basically level 5, you can basically make your copy of Nova and then step into your copy of Infinity, which is insane to be able to do. Basically just activate your copy of Instant Fusion, bring out your copy of Cybersaurus, and then summon out any level 5 Dinomist monster to your side of the field, so you can make your copy of Nova and then Infinity, establishing a negate. We then play a single copy of Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. Avramax is very easy to summon with your copy of IP plus your copy of Still Hat Rabbit on your side of the field, which is really cool to be able to do during the opponent's turn, and this card is just absolutely insane when you summon it out with your copy of IP to your side of the field. Then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is really good as a 1-of in the build to basically just summon this card out to your side of the field, as it comes out absolutely massive, and it's just a crazy powerful boss monster to be able to make in this deck, to basically just summon out to your side of the field, pop multiple cards on the field, and it comes out absolutely massive. We play a single copy of Exceed the Pendulum. Exceed the Pendulum is a great option in the deck that has the ability to gain 100 attack for each Pendulum monster card that you control, and also, if this card is Link Summon, you can actually add a face-up Pendulum monster from your X check to your hand, which is a really cool effect. And during the main phase, quick effect, you can actually special summon a Pendulum monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position with a level between the Pendulum scales of the 2 cards in your Pendulum zone. We then play a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP is really good in the deck as a 1-of to basically just use this card as a double interruption. We then play a single copy of Silo Hat Rabbit. Silo Hat Rabbit is insane in this build as a 1-of because of its downward pointing arrows, and has a really cool ability that if this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. And if this card is Link Summon, you can actually set a continuous trap from your deck to your side of the field with an effect that special summons itself as a monster, basically getting your copy of Azaroom, which is insane. Also, this card cannot be used as a link material this turn, which is totally fine because you're just going to use your copy of IP on the follow-up to step into your copy of Avramax. We then play a single copy of Beyond the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum belongs in every single Pendulum deck, and this card is really good in the build to basically just use this card to pop cards on the field and grab the exact Pendulum monster you want from your deck to your hand. We then finally play a single copy of IP. IP is great in the build to help you step into your copy of SP or your copy of Avramax during the opponent's turn. So, that's it for the Dinomist deck, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this deck because it's so fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Dinomist deck before, I hope you guys give this deck a try because it's so fun to be able to play. And just Pendulum summon out the cards to your side of the field so you can go in for game. With this build, it can actually go first really well, and I'm really excited for you guys to try this. And definitely tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below. So, that's gonna be this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell and there, so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.